Dragon-type Pokemon have always been some of the most fearsome looking and powerful Pokemon in the entire franchise. So much so that we didn't really have a lot of them in earlier games, as they were pretty scarce due to their overwhelming power. But thankfully, they've become a lot more abundant as the series has progressed. Although their status at the top of the food chain has since been stripped after the introduction of the new fairy typing back in Gen 6, which was apparently only implemented simply to keep the dragon typing in check, as it underwent a real power creep back in the day. The Pokemon Company has also expanded upon what can be considered a Dragon-type Pokemon. I mean, please tell me how these are Dragon types, and these are not Dragon types. I'm just kidding, I know the reasoning behind most of these decisions, and all jokes aside, I personally like the fact that they've gotten more flexible and creative with the designs of Dragon types. More variety is always welcomed as far as I'm concerned, and it also really gives more creative freedom to Fakemon creators such as myself. That being said, I'll be introducing all of the Dragon-type Pokemon I created for my Icelandic and Norse-inspired Fyrún Region, with the help of several amazing talented artists I commissioned to bring all of my ideas to life. So please make sure to check out their info in the description below, as I'll not only be sharing their contributions to this video, but links to their own pages and projects. So make sure to go give them plenty of love and follow them as well. In this video, I'll not only be covering these Fakemon's lure, inspiration, and designs, but the creative process behind them, as I truly put a lot of attention and love into everything I create. And I want that to show, and to share that process with all of you. Given the role dragons play throughout Norse mythology, there are not only a good amount of dragon types in the Fyrún region, but they are some of the fiercest Pokemon in the region as well. So if you like these Fakemon and enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button, and subscribe to my channel for future Fakemon content, or go back and watch some of my previous videos to learn even more about the Fyrún region, and all of its Pokemon, which you can also learn more about on my Instagram account at Mykemon_regions, where I share their full movesets, their stats, their abilities, and plenty more. Full disclosure, this video will not only introduce a few brand new Dragon-type Pokemon created for the Fyrún region, but a couple of new characters tied to these Pokemon as well, and their roles within the story. So heads up, this will be a little bit more of a character-driven and story-focused video than some of my others, as I will finally fully explore Dragon-type specialist Ragnar's backstory and overall role in Pokemon Brain and Pokemon Brawn. But before I do so, I'd like to give a quick recap of some of the native Fyrún dragon types I've already introduced in some of my previous videos for those of you who've missed them. But fear not, it's going to be very quick and brief, but I will be providing the links to these videos for those of you who would like to learn even more about these Fakemon or the Fyrún region. So I hope you enjoyed this quick little refresher. And of course, there will also be plenty of dragon type lines from previous regions found within the Fyrún region that I'd like to cover as well, in addition to letting you know where they can actually be caught. For example, you can find the Dratini line by the region's open waters, waterfalls, rivers, and lakes. You'd even be able to unlock its ancient evolution Seydrian Dragonite and its forged form after unlocking an in-game event connecting it to Pokemon Legends Realm Dull, along with other Seydrian Pokemon and evolutions, including the dragon types Seydrian Druddigon and its regional evolution Gargoygon. So if you'd like to learn more about these Pokemon and the ancient Seydar region, please make sure to check out my Pokemon Legends Realm Dull video, as I explore the past version of the Fyrún region at the time it was first being settled and was known as the Seydar region. It's one of my favorite videos yet. It's a total beast of a video at almost an hour long, and has a lot of really cool concepts and designs, and it really sets the stage for the modern day Fyrún region and its story, as well as the forged form mechanic. So if you haven't already, please make sure to go check that video out. I promise you won't regret it. Now, back to the modern day Fyrún region, you'd also be able to find other dragon type lines like the Gumi line in some of its more muddy areas. The Gible and Bagong lines will be found in the region's massive canyon areas, while the Axew line can be found in the region's grottos. Previous dragon types I created for my own Fakemon region, the Luika region, can also be found in the Fyrún region, such as the Majestic line and the Acarane line, with Mystek found on top of the region's massive icy mountain, and the Acarane line available in one of the region's 2 DLCs, which I plan to reveal later in the near future. And of course, dragon-type evolutions like Altaria and Kingdra would also be accessible in the Fyrún region, as you can catch Swablu all throughout the region, and the Horsey line all throughout the region's surrounding seas. So dragon-type trainers can rejoice, but of course you're here to see the new dragon-type Pokemon native to the Fyrún region. So without further ado, let's check those out. I'd like to start off by introducing Cookatrice, being a fire dragon type based on the golden rooster from Norse mythology, and the Cookatrice, a rooster-like dragon from mythology. It evolves from Roaster, the rooster Pokemon, but only if it's hatched from a rare golden egg. So this Pokemon is quite elusive, and it's important to note that it's only the Roaster that hatches from a rare golden egg that can evolve into a Cookatrice, not the Roaster that laid the golden egg. You can learn even more about Roaster and its evolution Cookatrice, which I commissioned the amazing artist Pokejamon for in my flying type themed video. Another dragon type I previously introduced in one of my videos is Fyrúnian Lapras, obviously being a regional variant for Lapras, with the fierce new water dragon typing, inspired and resembling Viking longships that resemble dragons known as Drakar, used for long distance travel, to transport goods, and war. It is also important to note that it is one of the transportation mons used to traverse the Fyrún region's rough seas, where it can also be found and caught. You can learn even more about this regional variant drawn by Trainer Mots and all the other regional variants found in the Fyrún region in my regional forms video. I have also just recently introduced 2 brand new dragon-type evolutions for 2 of the most iconic Pokemon ever, Pikachu and Eevee, in the form of Gorochu and Drekeon. Gorochu, or at least my and artist K Fake Monster's depiction of this scrap beta Pokemon, is a new split evolution for Pikachu using the region's new runestone, with the biggest change I made to it being the new dragon typing, inspired by its creator's original statement saying it had fangs and horns, which I felt made it fitting of the dragon typing. It was also described to look like a god of thunder, which just made it fitting for the Fyrún region at large. And of course there's the new dragon type evolution, also using the region's runestone, Drekeon, which is probably the most iconic dragon of the Fyrún region, even once considered by the internet to be an actual leak for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Thanks to 3D artist Ivan Newman, and of course the talented Fungus Fakemon who did the original artwork for this mon, with emphasis on its shiny, multicolored scales inspired by the Bifrost Bridge and the Northern Lights, as well as lindworms, which are commonly found throughout both Norse and Scandinavian mythology. Most importantly, it is the ace Pokemon of one of your biggest allies in the Fyrún region, a fashionable and fascinating trainer known as RAGNAR, who will be commonly featured throughout this video. But let's rewind just a little bit back to these 2 brand new evolutions, both of which being introduced with a variety of other awesome, Norse-inspired, cross-generation evolutions for fan-favorite Pokemon, specifically with the Fyrún region in mind, so that's another video I definitely recommend checking out. Okay, now back to RAGNAR. RAGNAR's design is meant to look androgynous, as they are in fact non-binary. RAGNAR's color scheme is modeled after their ace Pokemon Drekeon, if you couldn't tell, down to its shiny rainbow-colored scales along RAGNAR's blazer, with other dragon-like features incorporated into the design, like fang-like earrings. While the region is divided by rival groups, Team Brain and Team Brawn, there are those like RAGNAR who don't identify with either faction. Fun, free-spirited, and rebellious, RAGNAR believes that the key to victory doesn't come from either strength or intellect, but from the beauty of Pokemon. Unlike most Pokemon trainers, RAGNAR doesn't overpower or outmaneuver their foes in battle. Instead, RAGNAR and their dragon-type Pokemon dazzle and distract opponents with bold tactics and stylish moves that leave a lasting impression. While RAGNAR will be a good friend to you through your journey through the Fyrún region, they are hiding a spectacular secret from you. RAGNAR moonlights as Drag Queen FANGTASIA, the dragon-type gym leader of the Fyrún region, whose Pokemon gym doubles as a runway with fashion just as fierce as the gym's dragon-type Pokemon. Although outside of this persona, RAGNAR lacks the confidence to really Pokemon battle as themselves. But while in the FANGTASIA persona is not only confident, but an eloquent battler proudly wielding Drekeon's Forge Form sword as their ace weapon. And another new dragon-type Pokemon in the Fyrún region, found on Gym Leader FANGTASIA's team, however not in its fully evolved state until your rematch, is one of the region's 2 pseudo-lines, being the Jotundra line inspired by Frost Giant Ymir, which I've yet to introduce but will formally do so alongside the region's 2nd pseudo in my next video. But I'd at least like to let you know where the first stage of this evolutionary line, the adorable Hailmet, can be found, being within the large icy mountain of the Fyrún region. Now I'd like to quickly dissect FANGTASIA's stunning design. FANGTASIA's design was inspired by various drag queens, primarily an armored dress made famous by drag queen Simone, who my friend Ali introduced me to. FANGTASIA features the same color scheme as RAGNAR, with a nice kiss of gold added into the armor, and now the rainbow colors on the blazer are more prominently featured along the bottom of this beautiful dress, referencing the dazzling northern lights. As a member of the LGBTQ+ community, I thought having a drag queen as the Dragon-type gym leader was too good of an opportunity to pass up, especially for an Icelandic-inspired region, as the LGBTQ+ community is actually heavily supported both in Iceland and even Norway, as same-sex relationships were decriminalized over 50 years ago, far ahead of their time. So I not only know firsthand just how important representation in franchises like Pokemon can be for many, such as myself, but given what a vital and beautiful part of Iceland's culture this really is, I wanted to reflect that in the Fyrún region. Which is why FANGTASIA's gym is found in the city inspired by the city of Reykjavik, known for its beautiful rainbow-colored streets and pride flags, as well as home to a lot of the gay scene in Iceland and where a lot of the pride events are held. But please know that there is so much more to both RAGNAR and FANGTASIA than their identity in the LGBTQ community, as you'll soon find out later on in this video as I dive even further into their backstory and role within the games. Because as a gay man, I've always hated it when I'm referred to as the gay friend, the gay family member, the gay colleague. Like I am so much more than my sexuality, and I don't want that to be the one thing that defines me. So when creating a character of any minority group, I address them in the same manner, and while I want these things to be present, as I am genuinely passionate about representation in my work, as it's something that has always really meant a lot to me, as I know it does others, I also don't want that to be the only thing these characters are recognized for, and try to make them as layered and dimensional as possible, with these elements usually being an important part of their role within the story, as I try my best to incorporate them in respectful and organic ways, so they don't feel like token characters or like an afterthought, as I truly think that undermines the whole point of representation. I'm honestly not trying to pander to anyone or make some sort of political statement with the inclusion of these kinds of characters, but simply trying to make the Pokemon world look more like the real world and more importantly create the world I've always dreamed of, as that's exactly what these projects and this platform allows me to do. So if you don't like the inclusion of these kind of characters, please keep your hateful opinions to yourself. This isn't about you, this isn't for you. This is my Fakemon region, so if you want to unsubscribe from my channel, that is your right, but please keep your hateful opinions to yourself, as they're not only harmful to me as a member of the LGBTQ+ community, but thousands of others who may stumble upon your comment and feel attacked. As my mother always said, if you have nothing nice to say, simply say nothing at all. Without further ado, let's get into the brand new dragon evolutionary line that will be featured in this video, the star of the show, the adorable Duormr. Its name being a play on Ormr, the Norse word for dragon, as well as duality or duo, as it's got two differently colored eyes, as well as version-exclusive evolutions. It's a pure dragon type in its first stage, but its evolutions each gain a new typing fitting of the respective version, but more on them in a bit. Let's focus on this little lad. On rare occasions, it's said to be able to see the future with its dual-colored eyes, each showing it two parallel paths to pursue. This is a cute and simple design, as I wanted to leave room to grow for its evolutions. I chose to give it a purple coloring for its body, as purple is a mix of both red and blue, which is the color of its dual-colored eyes, representing its two evolutions, so it's nice neutral ground for its evolution line's coloring. Duormr's body, however, features some green, as I still wanted to give it some personality of its own before it evolved, and felt it would complement the purple nicely. This Pokemon is rather rare and hard to come across in the Fyrún region, with only a 1% encounter rate in the region's picturesque scenic sanctuary area. But fear not, your good pal RAGNAR will gift you with a Duormr shortly after befriending them, as they want nothing to do with either Team Brain or Team Brawn and feel like this Pokemon would fit more at home on your team so it can evolve into its full potential. Duormr is actually yet another Pokemon in the Fyrún region to evolve using the rare Runestone. Speaking of which, Duormr's two split evolutions are Wisdormr and Valormr. Wisdormr is a Dragon Psychic type exclusive to Pokemon Brain. Using its beautiful blue eyes, Wisdormr is able to see the flow of mystical energy, which it can cipher into its own special attacks. Its name being a play on wisdom, and once again Ormr meaning dragon. It's quadrupedal, more like your typical dragon, with more wise or wizard-like qualities, like a mystical orb in between its horns. It clearly embraces the Pokemon Brain blue coloring, previously represented in its pre-evolution Duormr's left eye, foreshadowing this transformation. Wisdormr even has a signature Dragon-type move, Dragonic Magic, being a special attack, lowering the target's special defense. Its other evolution, Valormr, is a Dragon Fighting-type Pokemon exclusive to Pokemon Brawn. Valormr are known to fearlessly rush into battle, as their raging red eyes allow them to see their foes' physical attacks before they make them. Its name being a play on valor, as in a form of bravery, and once again Ormr meaning dragon. Unlike its counterpart, it remains bipedal, more fitting of its fighting typing, with a more battle-ready pose. Its body is its weapon, as it fights with its claws and its fists, with a full range of motion over its movements, unlike Wisdormr, who relies more on magic or special attacks released through the orb on its head. And of course, it now has a new slick red coloring, representing Pokemon Brawn, as well as the color of its pre-evolution Duormr's right eye. Like its counterpart, Valormr also has a signature Dragon-type move called Dragonic Might, which is a physical attack lowering the target's defense stat. So it's essentially a physical type version of the same attack, but with the opposite effect. Both of these evolutions are very powerful Pokemon. I like to think of them as the Flapple or Appletun, or better yet the Armarouge or Ceruledge of the Fyrún region, as just like these two lines, it has two split version exclusive evolutions. A trend I also already followed in my first Fakemon region, the Luika region, which I felt I should mention as both of its final stages are bug dragon types. Wisdormr and Valormr also have plenty of similarities, as they are counterparts and still part of the same evolutionary line. One of the most notable being their white beards to show the fact that they're aged from their adolescent stage, having reached their full potential regardless of which path they went down. They each also have some spikes, a spiky tail, as well as their own unique set of horns, not only fitting of their dragon typing, but that were designed specifically with their forge form weapons in mind, as they both each have their own version exclusive forge form as well, each being a spear of the piercer type. Wisdormr's spear, however, looks more like a magical staff or scepter with the mystical orb between its horns being at the forefront. Staff or wands aren't a forge form weapon or class of their own, once again because all forge forms are magical weapons, able to access that Pokemon's moveset in addition to their own unique finisher move. So having a magical weapon class like that would not only be redundant, but defeat the purpose of forge forms. All forge forms are also living magical weapons that aren't as stagnant as their artworks may have you think. By that, I mean Golurk's hammer, for example, can be used to fly around the battlefield. The various parts of these forge form weapons can transform to fully utilize certain attacks or abilities both in and out of battle. Not to mention, the trainers are still guided and protected by the aura of the Pokemon they are wielding. So the Pokemon are still very much part of the battle. It's just more hands-on for the trainer and intimate as the trainer and the Pokemon have to actually work together. Anyways, Valormr's forge form is also a spear, but more like your typical spear, with its sharp, more pointed horns being the key feature of this weapon. But being as Valormr is more of a physical attacker, it would also have access to its moveset, so this weapon would be much better for close combat battling. But like Wisdorm's forge form, could still use special attacks if it has them in its moveset, like Thunder or Flamethrower. Both being piercer type weapons means their accuracy are increased by 10%, meaning their powerful signature moves with only 90% accuracy become that much more useful while in this form. These two Pokemon are both the ace Pokemon of Ragnar's two older brothers, EINAR and GUNNAR, each wielding their respective dragon's forge form as their ace weapon, as they each are admins of one of the rival teams, Team Brain or Team Brawn, as they have always had a sibling rivalry, which was further provoked by the presence of these two teams in the Fyrún region, as these two brothers, while both experts in their own rights, couldn't be any more different. Ragnar's dapper brother, EINAR, is one of the admins of Team Brain, being one of the top academics at his academy. EINAR is very studious and perceptive, always thinking 2 steps ahead of his adversaries in battle, using his smarts to outmaneuver the strongest of foes by implementing impressive strategies. These cognitive abilities led him to worship the divine Pokemon Ilruz and its current master Loki, the leader of Team Brain, as they are both known to possess these same qualities. So EINAR, always feeling inferior to his brother's strength and athletic abilities, joined Team Brain to show his own abilities as an intellectual are just as valid if not superior. I wanted EINAR, being a member of Team Brain, to look more studious and dapper as I mentioned, with a nice dress shirt, pair of pants, and shoes, complemented by a snazzy tie, and completed with a blue sweater featuring the Team Brain emblem, resembling the divine trickster Pokemon Ilruz. Ragnar's dashing big brother Gunnar is one of the admins of Team Brawn, being one of the best athletes at his academy. Gunnar's strength and stamina allow him and his Pokemon to easily overwhelm his foes in battle with an onslaught of impressive physical attacks. His athletic abilities led him to worship the divine Pokemon Stormer and its current master Thor, the leader of Team Brawn, as they're both known to possess the same qualities of him. So Gunnar, who has always felt dumb compared to his book-smart brother, joined Team Braun to prove that his physical abilities can be just as useful, if not more, in battle. Gunnar, being a member of Team Braun, is a lot more muscular and athletic looking, with his outfit being made up of sneakers, track pants, and a sporty hoodie sporting the Team Braun logo that belongs to the Divine Warrior Pokemon Stormer. Like Ragnar, I wanted both brothers to have their own attire and hair color to match their ace Pokemon or their team, which is also important as they are both team admins. And yes, I know they all have different colored hair, but Pokemon characters are known for having crazy colored hair, oftentimes even being different among siblings. I also really wanted both brothers to each have their own body types and hairstyles to make it clear just how different they are, and so they stood out amongst the other members or grunts of their respective teams. EINAR being a little more out of shape compared to his athletic brother's more muscular build, but both of which still command a lot of space. If it wasn't clear, their sibling rivalry ultimately stems from their jealousy, as they both have secretly envied the other's abilities growing up and just want to feel adequate in their own abilities. This is just another example of the Fyrún Region's overarching themes of duality or division found throughout this project if you look hard enough. Both EINAR and Gunnar are hardworking and headstrong, making them great admins for their respective teams as they push the grunts and new members to reach their full potential. However, both brothers have been trying to pursue poor Ragnar into joining their team. EINAR has taught Ragnar a lot about strategy over the years, and Gunnar has passed on a lot of his more hands-on battle tactics to Ragnar as well. So Ragnar is essentially the perfect mix of their battle methods, but instead has their own interests and tactics as they are more drawn to beauty and fashion, as I've previously mentioned in this video, which has influenced their own battle strategy. Ragnar, or FANGTASIA's unpredictability and showmanship, is a weapon in its own right. However, both brothers are completely unaware that Ragnar has already forged a path of their own and is secretly Dragon-type gym leader FANGTASIA, as they really just want Ragnar to side with them to further validate their own insecurities and shape them in their image, without stopping to think what Ragnar actually wants to do or has to bring to the table. This is actually what influenced Ragnar to create the FANGTASIA persona in the first place, as it not only allows them to freely pursue their passions and be the best version of themselves, but do so without their brother's judgment or feeling like they let either of them down. However, meeting you and seeing you fight for your dreams, despite your mother, Professor Aspen's strict parenting and expectations, ultimately gives Ragnar the courage to battle as their true self without all the drag and finally reveal their true identity to their brothers. So this character progression and dynamic for Ragnar will be explored even further in one of the Fyrún Region's 2 DLCs, as Ragnar is a key character in that storyline, deciding to take their influence as a gym leader and love for fashion to start their own team, Team Beauty. So it's important to note that unlike their brothers, Ragnar doesn't feel the need to join someone else's team, but rather start their own. But this is something I'll cover in much more detail in one of my future videos after formally introducing these 2 DLCs. But while on the topic, these DLCs will feature even more dragon types, one of which will even have its own legendary trio of dragons I refer to as the Legendary Serpents, inspired by 3 iconic dragons from Norse mythology, Nidhogg, Fafnir, and Jormungandr, each having one of the 3 starter types. So I really cannot wait to show you these epic dragon type Pokemon. Please feel free to leave a comment down below to let me know which one of these version exclusive dragon type evolutions is your favorite, or if either of them will have a place on your team in the Fyrún region. Like I said, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please make sure to hit that like button, as well as to subscribe to my channel for even more Fakemon content, as I have several exciting projects in the works. Also, please make sure to go follow and support all of the amazing artists who I commissioned to bring my ideas to life for this video, such as Fetty Rex, who did this new amazing avatar for me, which I know a lot of you love. I myself really enjoy, as it makes editing things a lot easier for me. Kai Fakemonzer, who did all the beautiful scenic artworks for this video. And of course, Trainer Mott's, one of my absolute favorite artists in the community, who I obviously use all the time for good reason, as he's not only super talented, but super kind. He did not only the entire Duormr line showcased in this video, but all of the characters and forge forms as well, and is currently in the process of posting his own amazing Greek-inspired region on Instagram, the Arcadia region. So please make sure to go check that out.